How's it going, guys? Today I'm here checking out my friend Luke's awesome collection. Lots of cool snakes, blueies, green tree pythons, monitors. You guys are gonna love this. Stay tuned.
I think I've been into animals for ever since I can remember. I was one of those kids that grew up on like things like David Attenborough, The Lion King, you know, anything to do with animals on TV, I was watching it. Obviously locally we get things like blue tongues and that, so I was always chasing those around the yard. But I think probably a pivotal moment when it came to reptiles would have been when my parents backed onto a property in the bush. And yeah, I think Mum and Dad got annoyed at me catching lizards and frogs and keeping them in boxes and things under the bed and wondering what certain smells were and all sorts. So yeah, that was probably the first thing that got me into reptiles. Later on down the track, I definitely discovered that, you know, you could actually own them as pets, you know, when I was an older age. So started off with a few geckos and it just grew into a complete addiction from there, and it just keeps going and going and going. So this is the main part of the place that I actually keep most of my reptiles in. Every one of my monitors is kept in here, all my pythons, bar one. Yeah, a few blue tongues, a few geckos, a few bits and pieces are in here. You've got a few animals outside as well and a few upstairs. But yeah, this is probably about 90% of the collections in here. Probably the peak of my interest lately has been small monitors, in particular, yeah, the kind of dwarf species for now, just because I'm limited by space and things. I just find them so much more intelligent than a lot of other reptiles, in particular things like snakes and that. They are intelligent, but monitors can figure out puzzles. They can figure out all sorts of issues in their enclosure and that you know, they can you could bury food somewhere in their enclosure and they'll find a way to go and get to it. Their sense of smell just seems to be phenomenal for what they are. But yeah, so at the moment I'm keeping a few species, gillons, ackies, the yellow ackies, black-headed monitors, and the subspecies, the freckled monitors from the black-headed monitors. I've had pretty good success this year. This is the first year that I've tried to breed any of them. So far I've got a few animals out, and I've still got some more animals cooking as well, which is good. Got a very tiny clutch of gillons monitors in the incubator at the moment that I'm just crossing fingers for, because I think they're such a handy little animal. Being one of the smallest monitors in Australia, I find that they are quite enjoyable to have because you don't need much space. This enclosure is only about 800mm high by about 600 wide and about 400 odd deep. As long as you meet their requirements, lots of little log hollows and things. They are quite arboreal by nature, so you know, they don't spend a lot of their time on the ground unless it's just for foraging or digging for a burrow or anything like that. But yeah, I'll see if I can get one of these guys out to actually give you a bit of a look, but right now they're in the middle of a log, which is going to be a little bit difficult to get to. I actually got a rule, when I get monitors out, I shut all the doors, because we've got a couple of roller doors here to open up into the garage, and I have had a couple escape on me, luckily been able to find them. But yeah, I think they're a lot more intelligent than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a little pygmy mulga monitor or a gillons monitor. I'm actually pretty sure this is the female who is potentially holding eggs again. So cross your fingers. I know I will be. Mm-hmm. Such a handy little species. As you can see, they're not all that big.
That's fully grown, isn't it?
Yeah, they do get bigger than that, but these guys, I mean, I've had them for, yeah, probably the better part of a year now, and they haven't, like, they get fed multiple times a week, and they don't seem to grow much more than this. I know a few guys that have got some that are slightly bigger. I have heard that they get to around 40 centimetres, but yeah, I don't know. That seems to be it for these guys.
Nice.
I was pretty lucky. I bought one just as a pet, and the second one that I bought was actually off Mitch Hodgson.
Hey.
And he advertised it as a male. Well, Mitch, you were wrong. It was a female. Sorry, mate. But thank you. It is a great little monitor. Yeah, I love them. I just think they're full of attitude. Even for a lizard this big, they've got a big lizard attitude. You know, most little skinks and stuff are quite skittish and will run away. These guys will stand and give you a bit of a bluff. The Gillens in particular, they are pretty secretive. Given the opportunity to have nice log hollows and things to get into, like they would have in the wild, or bark to hide under, they'd definitely take it. But yeah, definitely an interesting species to keep, and they don't require a lot of room and a lot of attention. Yeah, Ackies have got to be another favourite. They are an awesome little beginner monitor. If you're after something that's going to get to a handleable size and give you a lot of reward in actually basking out in the open and things like that, then Ackies are definitely the way to go. They are just like such well patterned little monitors.
They're really common now, which is good.
Yeah, they're really accessible, which is awesome. I think that they're just such an interesting little species, just the way that they can burrow so prolifically, and these guys, they definitely prefer a deep substrate. I am hoping to get new enclosures in the future and build them so they've actually got like a full 300 mil worth of dirt in there. At the moment, with all my enclosures, I tend to kind of pile the dirt up against the back wall just to give them that option against the back wall. I haven't found with like nesting boxes and I've had any success at all, except for my freckled monitors. But yeah, so these guys definitely prefer a wide range of digging medium. Substrate wise, I use a lot of different things in these enclosures, so it is a big mix of all sorts. Mainly coir peat, sand, crushed granite, there's sugarcane mulch, there's like regular mulch and stuff in there as well, but I actually really like the crushed granite in there because I find that kind of gives it almost like a bit of a clay-like texture when it's wet, so then it can actually hold a burrow quite easily. So yeah, this is a little male yellow Ackie monitor. This guy was bred by Bob King. I got half of my Ackies off Bob King actually. He's a great goanna breeder, so check him out at Spongy's Goannas as well. But yeah, the other 3 adult Ackies that I've got at the moment were actually also given to me for nothing. They're just people that didn't want to keep them anymore, or multiple reasons. But yeah, so that's the little male that I've got in there. This is the female. She's an awesome little monitor in herself. She's laid quite a few clutches for me this year. The clutch that I've got out at the moment, there was a clutch of 13 eggs. I think I ended up getting 11 little Ackies out, which was awesome. Which I think is a pretty decent sized clutch for these guys. She's laid a couple of smaller clutches since. Yeah, she could be ready for another one soon. You have to look at baby goannas. They're just like little pocket rockets, those things. They're the size of a garden skink essentially, but they're a hell of a lot faster and they'll eat a garden skink, I can tell you that much. So this little fiery guy here, this is a freckled monitor, or Varanus tristis orientalis. It is about the middle of the day at the moment, so these guys are nice and warm. They aren't going to sit still for us at all.
Energized.
yeah. This is a bearded dragon times 100. So yeah, this guy's it's the subspecies of the black-headed monitors. Come in all sorts of different colours, these guys as well, depending on whereabouts they're from. I couldn't tell you the locale exactly of this guy. This was another purchase from Bob King. Awesome looking goanna. He's quite friendly actually. He's definitely he's been trained to eat from the tongs now, which is awesome. I do try to encourage that, just so that you do build a bit of a relationship with your goannas. It makes them a little bit more tolerable to you. But if you're looking for a pet that's going to kind of sit on your lap and chill out on the couch, these guys probably aren't for you. But if you're after something that's going to give you a bit more of a challenge, then yeah, these guys are a fantastic species as well. Cool. So these guys are my black-headed monitors. This is the pair that actually, I was telling Cooper a little bit earlier, that they did manage to escape and push out the vent. As you can see, if you can see, yeah, the male's actually lost part of his tail. That was due to his week-long holiday. I was lucky that he got hungry because he came back, and when I did find him, I actually came downstairs to feed some frogs late one night, and he was sitting on a box of crickets waiting for me. So anyway, he's back now. But yeah, so we got a few eggs out of these guys this year, and it looks like the female is gravid again.
Yeah, she looks pretty chunky.
Yeah, so the female's the one that's on top at the moment. She's definitely looking like she's got a decent sized belly. Awesome species to keep. They are very skittish by nature, as most of these kind of more tree dwelling monitors are. But I do find that they are pretty rewarding as long as you do have the patience for them. I found that when I first got these guys in, they did kind of tend to hide away for the better part of 3-4 months before really coming out and basking in the open, unless it was for a brief moment and I happened to catch it. But like any monitor, you should always provide them with a bit of substrate depth as well, just to supply them with some humidity as well. So I actually go through and I spray down all my monitors once or twice a week and just kind of moisten the substrate up, so if they do want to dig down for any reason, or they just want to escape the heat or whatever, then they can do so. I do keep them really hot, so most of my monitors have a basking temperature from anywhere from about 55 degrees up to 75 degrees Celsius. At 75 degrees Celsius, I do have babies that will actually actively bask at that temperature as well, and for quite a period of time. I haven't had any burns at this temperature. I always make sure that there is a decent distance in that sort of space with that temperature, but yeah, they definitely like it hot, and that's why they are supercharged little pocket rockets. So this is another little Ackie enclosure. I do have a few pairs here. Yellow Ackies again. This was a pair that was actually given to me. They're going on about 5 years old. Owner didn't want them anymore. I gave them a home. But yeah, as you can see, I've given them a similar setup. I've used these little fake rocks here that are like an aquarium rock. They're actually hollow, so I've just cut out some little holes in there and made them pliable to what I need. But yeah, so deep substrate again. These guys have got like a mound of dirt underneath there, so you can see that it is quite deep, and they do burrow down in these little burrows and escape that heat, especially during the middle of the day. But yeah, as I said, they make fantastic first monitor pets. So this is where I keep a few of my baby goannas, as well as a few breeding rat tubs as well. These setups are really basic, just simply one heat light down one end, a little bit of ventilation on the other end. I've got flue on along the walls of the enclosure as well, so if I'm throwing wood roaches in there, then the woodies can't escape, so then food stays in the tub. Obviously crickets won't be able to climb up there at all. Inside of there is just simply stacked tiles, a few little hides and things like that for them to get into. There's a couple of inches of substrate which I moisten up probably 3-4 times a week for the babies, just so they don't lose a lot of the humidity in their enclosure. Cooper and I just actually measured the temperature on one of the babies' basking spots where one of them was sitting before, and measured about 77 degrees Celsius, and he was loving it. So yeah, people with your small goannas at home, don't be afraid to cook them.
So here's the baby Ackies.
Yeah. This is just a few of them. You'll probably find that about this time of day, I don't know, sometimes they'll actually bury right underneath the substrate. So yeah, most of these Ackies are going to be available at the up and coming Sydney Reptile Expo on February 18th. But yeah, as you can see, straight off the bat, these guys are firing away. They're just little weapons. This is Loki, my little mangrove monitor. I'm a little bit still undetermined on what gender this little guy is. I'm starting to actually lean towards female, just because by now I would have thought that I would have seen some hemipenes come out while it was under some stress, such as a little bit of handling like this. They are a very, very, very skittish monitor. I definitely don't recommend them for the beginner. But anybody that's been around long enough should have some fun with these guys. They're not a very common monitor in the hobby as well. In fact, I don't know off the top of my head of anybody that's got these in New South Wales. I know there's, I believe it's Michael Breen who's down in Victoria that's got these. But yeah, I don't know a lot of people that have got these. So yeah, obviously not your standard monitor enclosure by any means. This is a 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot reptile one enclosure. Obviously it's been kitted out with some extra gear in there to kind of make it applicable to little mangrove monitor here. So we've added in a 3-foot aquarium, just your standard one that you pick up at most fish shops. Obviously, that makes it a lot more visually appealing for the owner to see your little growler swimming around in the water. If you ever see these things swim, they swim like a crocodile. They'll put their legs in towards the side and they'll flap their tail around and use that as a rudder essentially. Their tail is laterally compressed for that, just like the Mertens water monitor. And you can see on the side it's a lot thicker when you look at it height-wise, vertically wise. So yeah, enclosure-wise, we've got a 3-foot aquarium. In there we've actually got a small canister filter that's just stirring the water around enough. So if you've ever owned fish, you know you've got to do water changes. Yeah, so it's something you religiously do. MVB bulb on this guy as well, just to give him that sort of extra heat and UV all in one. With him, we've got a bit of a nest box up the top as well, where we just got some the sugarcane mulch inside of there, just as a bit of a filler. Up the back corner here as well, he's also got a heat panel, just because these guys are a little bit more temperature sensitive when it comes to dropping temps and stuff, because they are a very northern species. So we've got that on a thermostat, just set that to about 30 degrees, so at least during the night he's got some heat. Water's obviously heated as well for that reason. Beautiful monitors, really enjoyable to keep. I think it's going to give you a lot of uphill, but it's worth the reward, that's for sure.
It's definitely not low maintenance, low cost, anything like that, but
no, and
it's not something you see every day.
Big too, so they're not like, this isn't an adult size by any means. These guys do get up to 4 foot sort of thing, so it's going to be a decent sized little goanna. But yeah, those claws are just like razor blades too. So yeah, be prepared to be scratched if you own one of these. So this is my little drill neck enclosure. It's 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot deep. This has got to be one of my favourite lizards, that's for sure. Yeah. They don't do a hell of a lot, they don't move around a hell of a lot, they're not a very interactive pet, but as a display animal goes, they're always going to be out basking, they're always going to be out and visible. They are a little bit harder to keep than beardies and dragons of those kind of likes that I've found. I find them a little bit more sensitive to environmental changes, like even doing something as simple as putting this backdrop in, which was only a recent addition into this enclosure. That stirred up Billy enough to kind of sulk for a day or two, but he did come around pretty quick. I did have an older female that I had for a period of time, but she just did not adjust to the move whatsoever. Yeah, she didn't like it, she didn't tolerate it, so unfortunately she's no longer with us. But these guys do make perfect little display animals. I say that, he's probably a little bit put off at the moment just because Cooper's a new face to him, so he hasn't met Cooper before. But yeah, so that's something that's interesting about frill necks, is I find that they can actually recognise people as individuals rather than just a person. So if I'm in here by myself, he never does that little hiss like he just did then. He'll never frill out for me, but I can handle him quite easily, whereas my wife struggles a little bit, just because she's not in here every day like I am. But yeah, I'll see if I can get him out and
probably take my hand off.
So they do have super sharp claws. But yeah, so they love their branches to be set in a vertical position. That's the way that they like to hang on to them. Mainly an insect diet, lots of cockroaches, some superworms every now and then, giant mealworms, anything that moves, crickets, stuff like that. They don't take to vegetables too easily. I have heard of some people being able to do it. If you can, great. If not, I wouldn't worry too much. He's just hissing in my ear slowly there. He also occasionally gets the odd mouse. But yeah, they're awesome little lizards. And I do highly recommend them to anybody that's got a little bit of patience. Yeah, but I wouldn't say they'd make a first pet.
They are a class 2 license as well.
Yeah.
Animal. And they're one of the largest dragons in Australia, if not the largest.
Yeah, so Billy's not even fully grown yet, and he's probably pushing like the what do you say, like 60, 70 centimetre mark.
Yeah,
you could probably get up to about 80. His head's just growing in, so if you've ever seen frill necks, you notice that the males always end up with a big bulbous head on them compared to the females, and of course like a longer frill as well. He's definitely in a bit of a mood today as well.
I've upset him.
You have, mate. He's upset my frill neck. I'm going to need to treat him to a good dinner now.
Yeah, that's the big boy.
Big boy.
So, this is a jungle python?
Yeah. She can be a bit of a cantankerous jungle python, like that. She's probably going on about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years old now. Obviously doesn't like the camera. She's the only black and gold one that I've got though. The rest of them are all gelatin locality. But yeah, she's definitely one of my favourites. She was my first carpet python, so she won't be going anywhere anytime soon. So the female gelatin that I've got up in this enclosure, she's the mother to my offspring, my yearlings that I've got at the moment. She's looking at me quite content, looking like she wants to go for a face shot, so I'm glad that the door's closed at the moment, but we will get her out. We'll probably put her out on the lawn just so you guys can get a better look at her. She's a beautiful girl. I don't know, she's probably about 5 foot, something like that, so she's a decent sized little snake. So in here is where I keep, at the moment, all my gelatin holdbacks from last season. Simple setups, you know, just using basic kitty litter and stuff as substrate with the breeder's choice, hides, heat cord. Yeah, it's nothing fancy, it's nothing new, it's how a lot of people have been keeping snakes for a long time now.
Does the job.
It does the job, that's the thing, yeah. So in here I've got, yeah, six gelatin holdbacks, and I've also got a couple of geckos. Yeah.
So is this one feisty?
They're all feisty. They are junglers, which do tend to have a bit of a bad reputation for having a little bit of a mean streak.
That one's really nice though, I like the pattern on it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of darker blacks to it.
Yeah.
I find like it's more consistent with the black patterning. So this is a little Centrillian knobtail gecko, Nephrus amie. Yeah, I absolutely love these guys. I reckon if you're into geckos and into terrestrial geckos in particular, these are a must-have. This is a little boy. Those steely silver eyes are just awesome. They just remind me of like the Thing out of the Fantastic Four or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just little rock monsters. Very simple to keep, like most knobtail geckos. You know, just a little bit of deep sand, a little bit of heat, not too much, but enough that they can get a little bit of a burrow in there. They don't burrow as much as the knobtails do, but you do find that they spend a lot of time out searching for their crickets and stuff like that, so yeah, they do make a good little display animal. Yep, so at the moment got 4 womas, kind of downsizing the woma collection at the moment. I'm probably just going to keep my Dick Greys and this Tanamo male. This guy was bred by Alex Leith, who breeds some cracker womas.
Nice.
He's a good-natured boy. It's a really nice snake. Womas are definitely one of my preferred beginner snakes, as long as you're prepared for their food response, because all Aspidites have got a good food response. But yeah, this is definitely a good-looking snake, in my opinion. I really like the dorsal striping and the reduced pattern to him.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, so this is a little grey male.
Nice. He's got some nice colours.
Yeah, he's really awesome. Like almost zero black on him. Hopefully this season coming up, this next one. Get some tiny little womas out. These guys are a WA locality. I think they're known for being one of the smallest ones available in the hobby. Pretty rare to find in the hobby. So these guys originally came from Bob Withy. But yeah, hopefully we get lucky and we get a little clutch next year. They'll be up to age. They're definitely up to size. But yeah, I think size is very important, but so is maturity. I think maturity is pretty ideal as well, just to make sure that in particular for the girls. But yeah,
nice.
Stunning little snake. So this is a little zebra carpet. Majority of its bloodline is jungle. So I think it's 75% jungle, 25% coastal. Was bred by Regan's Reptiles with Brad Regan there. Awesome looking snake. Was thinking about injecting some gelatin blood into this line, but to be honest, I think I might just leave the gelatins completely pure. I think it's just a safer thing to do. So a new thing for me is the green tree pythons. It's probably one of the reasons that I got into snakes in the first place. I don't think there's much else that's really needed to say about these guys as to why you'd want to own them. They are an absolutely stunning species. A little bit more finickier than your standard carpet pythons and things, but as long as you kind of follow the husbandry needs, then they're reasonably simple. Need a little bit of humidity, so yeah, I spray these guys a couple of times a week. Probably feed them a little bit less than most snakes as well, just to keep them a bit leaner. So this particular girl, this is Midori, aptly named after the Japanese word for green. She's an absolute sweetheart. So her at this size, she'll take a small rat quite easily, but yeah, I wouldn't give her anything else bigger than that. I'm trying to prime her a little bit for this upcoming breeding season. I've got a couple of males here that I'm wanting to try out over the top of them, but we'll see what happens from there. So this is another one of my green tree python enclosures. Got a little male up the back. This guy was my first green tree python. He actually came with this enclosure, and I kind of followed the rules of how it was set out with the other enclosures that I've got. It's all live plants in there. There's just like a pothos vine. It's a pretty simple setup, just a heat panel on a decent thermostat, a decent pulse proportional thermostat or a dimming thermostat. In this enclosure we've got two water bowls, one up near the heat pad rather, just so it bumps up the humidity, and another one down the back end here for drinking. But yeah, I really like the idea of having live plants in a green tree python enclosure, just because they are reasonably sealed enclosures with not much ventilation, so at least if a plant's in there kind of chewing a bit of carbon dioxide, then it's providing a little bit of oxygen for the animal as well. And I definitely think they're appreciated.
It'd be good for the humidity too, probably.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like a couple of times a week I'll water down the plants as well as the animal itself, but usually the front's all completely frosted up for a couple of days and it comes good. So in here I've got the classic stereotypical hypermelanistic animal.
He's a nice one.
He's a nice little dude, yeah. I think if you're into blue tongues, you've at least got to have one of these as a pet. You know, at the very least, you don't need to breed them, but they're just an awesome looking blue tongue. There's just nothing like that black on blue.
Mm-hmm. And the orange belly looks awesome. Yeah. So nice. Gotta love the hypers.
Oh yeah. So here we've got one of our blotched blueies. We actually think this girl's gravid. Pretty certain she is. She's got some pretty heavy breathing going on. So the male that went over the top of this girl is still outside. But yeah, hopefully we should get some bubs out of her soon.
She's really nice, really stripy.
Yeah.
Nice colours.
This is actually one of my most anticipated pairings this season that's just gone. I'm really I haven't bred blue tongues yet, so this was a new for me. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but
I'm calling it now.
Good so far.
I'm calling it now. She's got at least 4 babies in there.
And I'll be happy with one.
She's definitely got something in her. She's massive.
Yeah, she's a big
beauty.
girl.
I'll be hitting you up for a baby.
Yeah, we'll be swapping.
Yeah.
So here's where I keep all my outdoor animals. Outside I got blotched blueies, got some turtles, a Cunningham skink, and some eastern blueies. Yeah, nothing too crazy out here. I won't be able to cope with it. So these enclosures that I'm keeping my blueies in at the moment, they're actually rabbit hutches that I just picked up off eBay for really cheap. Obviously they needed a few alterations, just like adding in some mesh and some fly screen and that, so the animals themselves don't escape. They needed a little bit of alterations when it came to the door. I've just used some tub lids of what I keep my snakes in, just to kind of shorten that space. Oh, I
don't think I got that.
So somebody's a little bit charged up by the looks of it, but
it's a warm day today, so
it is a
the
warm
blotchies
day.
are out and about.
He's ready to go.
Ready to rumble.
This boy always makes an effort to chase me. Actually, this male, if he's going to let me pick him up, this male is the male that's gone over that female blotchy that's inside.
Yep.
Yeah, they actually make a good pair because they're quite aggressive animals, so they're good together.
Nice colours too.
Yeah, he's not happy with me at the moment. Yeah, the female and the male that are on the other side, they're pretty calm, but yeah, he seems to be a little bit more of a fiery chap.
He just thinks fingers are tasty.
Yeah, it's not the first time that he's tried to nip me, that's for sure. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, they're just an altered blue tongue hutch.
Rabbit hutch.
Altered rabbit hutch. They're just lifted off the ground on some old tiles. Obviously just got some mesh under there as well, just to stop any potential escapees. But yeah, in the back I just added in a sheet of plywood so I could just keep all the sugarcane mulch in the back so they've got something to bury in.
You do good.
Yeah, I do usually throw a tarp over, especially on a sunny day like this, just over the top of the rear of the hutches there, just to keep a little bit of the heat out.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, during wet weather and that, I'll obviously throw the tarp over the whole lot of it as well. As you can see, I'm just feeding these guys the standard Purina cat kibble at the moment. But yeah, it's always it's always a mix between that and yeah, some wet dog food or something along those lines.
Yep, keeping it simple and
Keeping
effective.
it simple. Occasionally a little bit of a treat. Maybe if I'm feeding the monitors a bit of kangaroo mince or something like that, they might get like a little bit of that. But yeah, it's a bit of a rarity.
And that is an interesting blotchy.
Cool. Yeah, so this is my little outdoor turtle pond. Pretty simple setup, but so yeah, as you can see, the base is all on the foundations is all made out of just timber sleepers, just from a local hardware store. It's caged in. That's pretty simple for most people to kind of understand. The plastic tub is actually a pond from Bunnings, so they are sold as like a UV kind of protected pond unit. I think it's about 300 litres, so yeah, not a hell of a lot of water, but it does the job for these guys. I find that especially if you've got some floating plants on top like this and just keep it well shaded enough, they seem to be quite happy in it. So yeah, we do have a little Cunningham skink as well that does live in here. He tends to hide around all the logs and stuff. Occasionally he goes for a quick swim and comes out the other side. But the filter system itself, so that's actually just a pump that's fed into essentially a bucket, and then that's gravity fed through bio balls into the PVC pipe that you can see coming out the bottom. That seems to work a treat. But yeah, anyway, so I'll see if we can grab some turtles out of here, if I can find them. Cool. There's a little sawshell.
Sawshell.
Yeah, so it's only a few years old now, but this one's been outside ever since it was about probably 9 months old, I'd say. Just decided that UV is better than any artificial light whatsoever. So
yeah, you can do it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. They're good looking little turtles. That's a good example of a little saury anyway. I'll see if I can grab the other one. So as I was telling Cooper before, I actually get some animals that get given to me, kind of not so much against my wants whatsoever, but some animals people can't care for anymore. They know me as a reptile guy, so they end up coming to live with me. I've had that happen with ackies, turtles, blue tongues, yeah, you name it. It's snakes, it's happened. So this is a little Murray River turtle. This animal is in dire need of a good shell clean, but it actually, when it first came in, it had a really soft shell. So the UV light that it had been kept under for about 2 years had well and truly expired. Being out here in the pond, he's tough as nails. Yeah. So his life's definitely improved.
Would have come good real quick.
Yeah. And eventually I'll find somebody that, you know, they want some turtles or whatever, and I'll just pass them on to them. That's not an issue. I just want to make sure they get healthy and get what they need. But yeah, it's a good little setup.
Yeah, I love it.
So this is just another little outdoor setup. This is my first attempt at, yeah, sort of like a little blue tongue hutch per se. It's just an old Bunnings pond. So this is just where I keep a few Easterns.
Yeah.
So this is my little display enclosure in the bedroom. Probably my most favourite enclosure at the moment. It's only recently just been set up like this, but yeah, obviously it's for this little male green tree python. So all these plants are live. We got some Benton ferns, we got some devil's ivy pothos, and we got the lily in there as well. The lighting is aquasonic, so it's a really strong output LED light. I found that they're really great for fish tanks, so I'm kind of just trying it out on this one as well. I think it's going to be pretty good for these kind of low light plants. But yeah, I've just kind of simply used some cork bark tubing and cut it up into pieces and use that as kind of like pot holders essentially, just to decorate it out a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer to the eye. But yeah, so far this green tree python seems to be loving the enclosure. So this is my little incubator here. This particular one's a Kamani incubator, very old school incubator, but it does the trick. Just got a few little monitor eggs in here, not a hell of a lot at the moment. We've got 3 gillons, 3 ackies and 3 blackheads. A few more eggs on the way. Something I will say though quickly, is check out this clutch. So I also work with Sydney Wildlife as a rescuer of snakes. This particular clutch of eggs was handed in to me from another member. These are diamond python eggs. Unfortunately, the mum was just put down because she had a fight with a whippersnapper in the long grass with an unexpected house owner. So hopefully we can hatch these guys out and release them back into the yard. But yeah, I've done a couple of diamond python clutches now and a few other water dragon eggs and things like that, and it's good to put these guys back out in the bush.
So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these awesome animals. Make sure you check out Luke. His Facebook page is Beach's Scaly Beasts, and where else can they find you, mate?
You can also find me on my wildlife photography page, which is just Luke Netheim Wildlife and Nature Photography. That's Netheim, Netheim for Mary. But yeah, thanks for coming over, Coop, and thanks for spending the day here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, anytime.
It's been a pleasure. And I'll link to all this stuff down below. He's got a YouTube channel too, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you want to see in future Keepers Collections episodes, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.